The dust never settled on Colony World 7. It just moved from one broken building to another, carried by winds that smelled like rust and old fires. Deho pulled his scarf tighter around his face as he walked through the ruins. His boots crunched on broken glass and twisted metal. 15 years ago, this place had been home to 50,000 people. Now it was just him and the ghosts. He carried a plasma cutter in one hand and the scanner in the other. The scanner beeped softly, leading him towards salvage worth taking. Old power cells, medical supplies, anything the war hadn't completely destroyed. Anything he could trade at the stations for food and water. The Talveen warship had crashed 3 months ago. Deho had watched it fall from the sky, trailing fire like a dying star. He'd waited weeks before approaching it. Sometimes crashed ships had survivors. Sometimes they had traps. But his scanner showed no life signs, and he needed what was inside. The ship's hull was cracked open like an egg. Deho climbed through the gap, his flashlight cutting through the darkness. The corridors were tilted and wrong. Everything that wasn't bolted down had fallen to one side. He moved carefully, checking each room. Most of the cargo was ruined. Weapons melted into slag. Food supplies contaminated by radiation. But then he found it. A sealed door marked with symbols he recognized. Medical Bay. Those rooms had their own power, their own shielding. Sometimes they survived when everything else died. He cut through the lock. The door hissed open, and cold air rushed out. His breath misted in the sudden chill. Inside, the medical bay was intact. Clean white walls. Equipment still humming. And in the center of the room, a stasis pod. Deho approached slowly. The pod's surface was frosted over, but he could see something inside. Someone small. He wiped the frost away with his glove, and his heart stopped. A child, maybe 6 years old. Her skin was pale, almost lavender in the pod's blue light. Her features were delicate, almost human, but not quite. Her ears were slightly pointed. Her fingers had an extra joint. Half human, half Talveen. A hybrid. Deho stepped back, his mind racing. He'd heard rumors during the war. Genetic experiments. Scientists on both sides trying to create bridges between species or weapons or both. He'd never believed it. Now he was staring at the proof. He should leave. He should run. Hybrids were illegal on both sides. Possessing one meant execution. But as he turned to go, his hand brushed against the pod's control panel. Lights flickered. Alarms beeped. The pod's emergency protocol had been triggered. The frost melted rapidly. Fluid drained from the chamber. The lid hissed open, and the child's eyes snapped wide. She gasped, coughing, her small body convulsing as it tried to remember how to breathe. Deho reacted on instinct. He reached in and pulled her out, supporting her as she coughed up the stasis fluid. She was so small, so fragile. Her eyes were huge and terrified as they locked onto his face. She tried to speak, but only managed to croak. Deho grabbed a medical blanket from a nearby cabinet and wrapped it around her shaking body. "It's okay," he said softly, even though he knew she probably couldn't understand him. "You're safe." The girl stared at him. Her eyes were violet, definitely not human. But the fear in them was universal. She was a child, alone and scared. Deho had seen that look before, in another life, on another face he tried not to remember. He checked the pod's records on the small screen. Her designation was Subject 17. The experiment logs made him feel sick. Dozens of attempts. Only one survivor. Her. The facility had been abandoned when the war turned. They'd put her in stasis and left her behind. The girl reached out with one trembling hand and touched his face. Her fingers were ice cold. She said something in a language that was part Talveen, part something else. A question, he thought. I don't know where your parents are, Deho said quietly. The logs had been clear. She was grown in a lab. She'd never had parents. Just the scientists with clipboards. He should leave her. It was the smart thing to do. The safe thing. But when he tried to set her down, she grabbed onto his jacket with surprising strength. She made a sound that was unmistakably a cry of fear. Don't leave me. Any species understood that plea. Deho sighed. He was going to regret this. He knew he was going to regret this. But he couldn't walk away. Not from a child. Not again. Okay, he said. Okay, you can come with me. But just until I figure something out. He carried her out of the ship, wrapped in the blanket. She buried her face against his shoulder, and he could feel her whole body shaking. The walk back to his shelter took an hour. She fell asleep against him, exhausted from the trauma of waking up. His shelter was hidden in the basement of an old apartment building. 3 rooms that still had power thanks to a generator he'd repaired. He laid her on his bed and covered her with blankets. She didn't wake up. Deho sat and watched her sleep. What was he doing? He was a salvager, not a parent. He barely survived himself. How was he supposed to take care of a hybrid child? Both governments would kill her on sight. Kill him too for harboring her. But when she woke up hours later, crying and confused, he went to her. When she was hungry, he shared his rations. When she was scared of the dark, he left the lights on. And when she looked at him with those strange violet eyes and smiled for the first time, something in his chest that had been frozen for 15 years began to thaw. He named her Hana, flower, because even in ruins, beautiful things could grow. The days became weeks. The weeks became months. Hana learned to trust him, then to talk to him. She was smart, picking up his language quickly. She had problems with some words, struggled with complex ideas, but she tried so hard. He taught her to hide when strangers came near, taught her to cover her skin and hair, taught her that the world wasn't safe for little girls who were different. But in their small shelter, she could be herself. She could laugh and play with the old toys he scavenged. She could call him Appa in that mix of languages she spoke. She could be just a child. 3 months after he found her, Deho's scanner picked up new signals. Ships entering orbit. Talvine signatures. His blood went cold. They were searching for something. He looked at Hana, playing with a broken datapad, completely unaware of the danger. They were searching for her. He had to keep her safe. Whatever it cost, he had to keep her safe. Because she wasn't Subject 17 anymore. She was Hana. She was his daughter. And he would die before he let anyone take her away. Jinae had been hunting for 3 days. Her armor was covered in the red dust of this dead world, and her patience was wearing thin. The crashed warship's data had been corrupted, but enough remained to tell her what she needed to know. 1 stasis pod. 1 hybrid specimen. Last known location within a 5-kilometer radius. She moved through the ruins like a shadow. Her training made her nearly invisible when she wanted to be. The Talvine Empire had sent their best, and she was determined to prove why. This mission was simple. Find the hybrid. Eliminate it. Eliminate anyone who had found it first. Leave no evidence. No witnesses. Her thermal scanner caught movement in an old plaza. A human male, average height, moving with the practiced caution of someone who'd seen combat. He carried bags of salvage. Jinae followed him from the rooftops, her weapon ready. The human led her through a maze of broken streets. He stopped often, checking his surroundings. Military habits, she noted. Former soldier, probably. That would make this more difficult. She preferred when her targets were civilians. For 2 days, she watched him. He lived alone in a basement shelter. He followed strict patterns. Every morning, he left for exactly 3 hours to scavenge. Every evening, he returned before dark. But something was off. His ration consumption was wrong. He took too much food, too much water, twice what one person needed. Jin-A's suspicion grew into certainty. He had the hybrid. He was hiding it. On the third day, she decided to act. She waited in the plaza where he usually stopped to rest. Her plasma rifle was charged and ready. When he appeared, she stepped out from behind a collapsed wall. "Stop," she commanded in his language. Her translator chip made her voice sound almost human, but there was no mistaking the weapon pointed at his chest. The human froze. His eyes went wide, then narrowed. He raised his hand slowly, but his body was tense, ready to fight or run. She'd been right about the military training. "Where is it?" Jin-A demanded. "The specimen from the medical bay." "I know you found it." The human's face remained blank. "I don't know what you're talking about. Lying wastes both our time. I tracked the pod's activation signal. You triggered it 3 months ago." She took a step closer, her finger on the trigger. "Tell me where the hybrid is, and your death will be quick." Something changed in the human's eyes. Not fear, something harder. "There's no hybrid," he said quietly. The pod was empty. Jin-A's anger flared. "I will search your shelter. I will tear it apart. I will find what I came for. Your cooperation only determines how much you suffer first." She raised her weapon, aiming for his head. Her orders were clear. No witnesses. She'd done this 100 times before. One shot. Clean. Simple. Then she'd find the hybrid and complete her mission. But before she could fire, a sound stopped her. A cry, high-pitched and terrified. Nitrogen monoxide. A small figure burst from behind a pile of rubble. A child, running faster than should be possible. She threw herself between Jin-A and the human, her thin arms spread wide. Her hood fell back, revealing lavender skin and violet eyes. The hybrid. "This is my father?" The child screamed in Talvine. Not the formal word. Not the clinical term. "Appa, this is my Appa. Please don't hurt him." Ginny's weapon wavered. She stared at the child, at the tears streaming down her half-human face, at the way she stood, trembling but defiant, protecting the human behind her. The hybrid was crying. The specimen was crying. "Hannah, no." The human's voice was sharp with fear. He grabbed the child's shoulders, trying to pull her behind him. "Get back. Get behind me right now." But the child refused. She clung to his legs and kept herself between them. "Don't hurt my Appa," she sobbed. "Please. He's good. He takes care of me. Please don't hurt him." Ginny's mind struggled to process what she was seeing. The reports had said the hybrids were failed experiments. Aggressive, mindless, dangerous. This child was none of those things. She was terrified, yes, but she was trying to protect her father. Her father. "Please," the human said. His voice was steady, but Jin-A could see the fear in his eyes. Not for himself, for the child. "Please. She's just a kid. She hasn't done anything wrong." "She's an illegal experiment," Jin-A said, but her voice lacked conviction. "She's not supposed to exist." "She exists anyway," the human replied. He'd given up trying to move the child. Instead, he wrapped his arms around her, holding her close. "She's alive. She's real. And she's mine." Hannah looked up at Jin-A with those impossible violet eyes. "I'm Hannah," she said in broken Talvine. Her accent was strange, like she'd learned the language from data files. "He found me. I was scared. He made me not scared. He's my Appa." Jin-A lowered her weapon slightly. This was wrong. Everything about this was wrong. Her mission was to eliminate a dangerous experimental subject. But this child wasn't dangerous. She was just a little girl who loved her father. Who created her? Jin'ei asked. What facility? The human hesitated, then seemed to make a decision. I'll show you. But you have to promise not to hurt her. Whatever you do to me, you leave her alone. Jin'ei should refuse, should complete her mission. But curiosity won over duty. Show me. They walked to his shelter in tense silence. Hana held the human's hand tightly, occasionally glancing back at Jin'ei with fearful eyes. The human kept himself between them, always ready to shield the child. The shelter was small but surprisingly comfortable. Clean, organized. One corner had been converted into a sleeping area for a child, with blankets and salvaged toys. Jin'ei saw drawings on the wall. Stick figures. A tall one and a small one holding hands. The human pulled up the pod's data logs on his terminal. Jin'ei read them, her stomach turning. Dozens of failed attempts. Children who died before birth. Children who died hours after. Children who lasted weeks before their unstable genetics tore them apart. She was the only one who survived, the human said quietly. They put her in stasis when the war turned bad. They just left her there. Jin'ei looked at Hana. The child was watching her with wide eyes, pressed close to the human's side. What's your name? Jin'ei asked him. Daiho, I'm Jin'ei. She lowered her weapon completely. I should kill you both. Those are my orders. Hana whimpered. Daiho's arms tightened around her. But I won't, Jin'ei finished. She didn't know why she was saying it. Didn't know why she was betraying 15 years of loyal service. But looking at this child, this impossible little girl who called a human soldier father, she couldn't do it. Why not? Daiho asked. Jin'ei thought of her own family, lost in the war. She thought of all the children who died in the fighting, human and Talvin alike. And she thought about what the war had really been about. Hatred, fear, pride, nothing worth the cost. Because she called you Appa, Jin'ei said simply, and you were ready to die for her. That's not an experiment. That's family. She holstered her weapon. My commander will send others when I don't report. And the humans know about her too. They'll come for her. Daiho's face went pale. What do we do? Jin'ei looked at them both. At this strange, impossible family. And she made a choice that would change everything. We run, she said. All of us, together. The first night was awkward. Jin'ei sat on one side of the shelter's main room while Daiho prepared a meal on the other. Hana kept peeking at the tall alien woman from behind her father's legs, curious but scared. She won't hurt you, Daiho said softly to Hana in their mixed language. She promised. She's very tall, Hana whispered back. Jin'ei's translator caught the words. Despite everything, she almost smiled. All Talvin are tall to humans, she said. You'll be tall too when you grow up. Taller than your father. Hana's eyes went wide. She looked at Daiho as if checking if this was true. He nodded. She seemed pleased by this information. They ate in silence. Jin'ei watched how Daiho cut Hana's food into small pieces. How he reminded her to eat slowly. How he wiped her face when she spilled. These were the actions of a father who'd been doing this for months. Patient, practiced, full of quiet love. After Hana fell asleep, Jin'ei and Daiho talked. Really talked. He told her about finding Hana, about the first terrifying weeks when he didn't know if she would survive, about teaching her to speak, to hide, to be careful, about how she'd changed him from a man waiting to die into someone who had something to live for. Jin'ei told him about the war, about losing her entire squad in an ambush, about how the only thing that had kept her going was duty. Orders, the belief that following them gave her life meaning. Now she'd broken the most important order she'd ever received, and she felt more alive than she had in years. "I lost a family too," Deho said quietly. "Before the war ended. Orbital strike. My wife and daughter. They were on a transport trying to evacuate." Jin-A closed her eyes. She'd probably helped plan strikes like that. "I'm sorry. Me too." Deho looked at Hana sleeping peacefully under her blankets. "When I found her, I saw my daughter. Same age she would have been. I knew I couldn't save my real daughter, but maybe I could save this one." They sat in silence for a while. Two soldiers from opposite sides, brought together by one small girl who shouldn't exist. "My commander will send Tae-Yang," Jin-A said finally. "He was my teacher, the best warrior in our fleet. If he comes, we can't fight him." "Then we don't fight," Deho replied. "We disappear." Over the next week, they prepared. Jin-A used her military access to monitor communications. Deho gathered supplies. They kept Hana close, never letting her out of sight. The child adapted quickly to having two protectors instead of one. She started calling Jin-A Auntie and Talvin, which made the warrior woman uncomfortable at first. "I'm not your auntie," Jin-A told her. "I'm a soldier." "Appa was a soldier," Hana replied with simple logic. "Now he's my Appa. You can be auntie." Jin-A looked at Deho, who just shrugged and smiled. The man was enjoying her discomfort. But then Hana did something that changed everything. She brought Jin-A a drawing she'd made. Two tall figures and one small one, all holding hands. "Family," Hana said proudly. Jin-A stared at the picture, at the stick figures with their round heads and crooked smiles. She'd had a family once, before the war. She barely remembered their faces now. But looking at this child's drawing, something in her chest felt tight. "Thank you," she said softly. "It's beautiful." Hana beamed and ran back to Deho. Jin-A carefully folded the picture and tucked it into her armor. Just for safekeeping, she told herself. The warning came on the 8th day. Jin-A's personal comm, a channel only her commander knew. The message was brief. "Tae-Yang deployed. Bring the asset home, or don't come back." "We're out of time," Jin-A said. They packed what they could carry. Food, water, medical supplies, weapons. Deho fashioned the carrier so Hana could ride on his back during long walks. She thought it was a game, laughing as he bounced her around. But then came worse news. Jin-A's scanner picked up human military signals. A Black Ops team, small but deadly. They were searching the ruins systematically. "They know she's here," Deho said. His face was grim. "Both sides are coming." That night, they sat together and went through all the data from the crashed ship. Jin-A found files Deho had missed. Research notes. Communication logs. The truth was worse than either of them imagined. The hybrid program hadn't been authorized by either government. It had been created by extremists from both species. Scientists who thought they could force peace by creating a new race. Children who belonged to both sides and neither. They thought if they made enough hybrids, the governments would have to stop fighting. Jin-A read aloud. That parents wouldn't kill children who were half their own species. They were wrong, Deho said bitterly. The governments just killed the scientists and destroyed the research. Not all of it. Jin-A pulled up another file. There were other facilities. Other children. The list made them both feel sick. Facility after facility, dozens of hybrid children, all marked as terminated or deceased. Only Hana's facility had managed to put one child in stasis before being shut down. "She's the only one left," Jin-A whispered. "The only hybrid who survived." They looked at Hana, sleeping peacefully. She had no idea she was unique. that she represented everything both governments feared and hated, that she was proof their war had been pointless. If two species could create life together, what were they really fighting about? We can't let them have her, Deho said. Either side. They'll either kill her or use her. I know. Jin-A checked her weapons. There's a neutral station. 3 days' travel from here. They take in refugees. No questions asked. If we can steal a ship, we'll never make it past both armies. We have to try. Deho nodded. He understood. There was no safe option. Only less dangerous ones. Jin-A began teaching Hana things that might keep her alive. How to hide. How to stay quiet. How to run. The child learned quickly, even if she didn't fully understand why. On the third day, Taeyang arrived. Jin-A's scanner picked up his ship landing near the ruins. Her old teacher, the warrior who trained her since she was young. He'll come alone, Jin-A said. That's his way. He thinks I'm just being slow. Can you fight him? Jin-A laughed bitterly. Taeyang taught me everything I know. He's faster, stronger, and smarter. I can't beat him. Then what do we do? Jin-A looked at Hana, who was practicing the hiding game Jin-A had taught her. The child could fold herself into the smallest spaces now. Could stay silent even when scared. We use what he taught me, Jin-A said. We cheat. They set traps throughout the ruins. Deho's technical skills and Jinny's tactical knowledge combined into something neither could have done alone. It wouldn't stop Taeyang, but it might slow him down. At the same time, the human Black Ops team was getting closer. Jin-A intercepted their communications. They were led by someone named So-Min. Cold, efficient, ruthless. She saw Hana as a weapon to be claimed, not a child to be protected. We're surrounded, Deho said. Talvin coming from the north. Humans from the south. How do we get out? Jin-A smiled grimly. We do something stupid and hope it works. That night, they moved. Not away from the danger, but toward it. Toward the old spaceport where both teams would eventually converge. Where ships waited to be stolen. Hana rode on Deho's back, holding tight. Jin-A led the way, her sensors scanning constantly. They moved through the darkness like ghosts, 3 impossible people fleeing 2 governments that wanted them dead. Appa? Hana whispered as they walked. Yes? Are we going to be okay? Deho and Jin-A exchanged glances. They were outnumbered, outgunned, and running toward danger instead of away from it. But Deho smiled. Yes, he said. We're going to be okay. Because we're family now. And family protects each other. Jin-A touched the drawing in her armor. The stick figures holding hands. Maybe the child was right. Maybe they were family. And maybe that would be enough. The spaceport was a graveyard of metal and broken dreams. Old ships sat rusting on launch pads, their hulls cracked and engines cold. But Jinny's scanner showed 3 ships that still had power. Small transport vessels, abandoned but functional. They reached the first ship just as dawn broke. Deho worked on the access panel while Jin-A kept watch. Hana sat between them, quiet and alert. She'd learned that quiet meant safety. The panel sparked. Deho cursed. It's locked down. Military override. I can't break it without triggering alarms. Then we trigger the alarms and run fast, Jin-A said. But before Deho could respond, Jin-A's scanner flashed red. Movement. Multiple contacts. The human Black Ops team had found them. Go! Jin-A shoved Deho toward cover. She grabbed Hana and ran in the opposite direction, drawing the team's attention. Plasma bolts scorched the ground where she'd been standing. Deho wanted to follow, but Jin-A's voice came through his comm. Get to ship 3. I'll lead them away. He ran. Every instinct screamed at him to go back for Hana, but Jin-A was right. They needed a ship. He had to trust the warrior to protect his daughter. Jin-A ran through the spaceport with Hana clutched to her chest. The child's arms were locked around her neck, her face buried against Jin-A's armor. The Black Ops team pursued, their weapons firing in controlled bursts. "Auntie, I'm scared," Hana whispered. "I know. Hold on tight." Jin-A vaulted over a fallen cargo container. She fired her weapon backward without looking, relying on sound to aim. She heard someone curse. One down, but there were 5 more. She ducked into a maintenance tunnel, her tall frame barely fitting. Hana was small enough to not slow her down. The tunnel was dark and tight, but Jin-A had studied the spaceport's layout. She knew where it led. Behind her, the team tried to follow, but they were human-sized, wearing bulky armor. The tunnel slowed them down. Jin-A emerged near Ship 2. She sprinted toward it, her lungs burning. Then a plasma bolt hit the ground next to her foot. She stumbled, but kept running. Another bolt grazed her shoulder. Pain flared, but she ignored it. "Almost there," she told Hana. "Almost there." She reached the ship and set Hana down. "Hide under those crates. Don't come out until I call you. But now, Hana." The child obeyed, crawling into the small space. Jin-A turned to face her pursuers. 3 of them had made it through the tunnel. 3 armed professionals against 1 wounded warrior. She smiled. Those were good odds. The fight was brief and brutal. Jin-A's training took over. She moved like water, flowing around their attacks. Her strikes were precise, efficient. Within seconds, 2 were down. The third managed to land a hit, her blade slicing Jin-A's arm. But Jin-A caught the woman's wrist, twisted, and disarmed her. 1 more strike and it was over. "Auntie?" Hana's small voice came from the crates. "I'm okay." "Stay there." Jin-A's cum crackled. Daeho's voice. "I've got Ship 3 open." "Where are you?" "Ship 2. On my way." But then a new voice echoed across the spaceport. Deep, familiar, speaking in Talvin. "Jin-A, I know you're here. Come out. We need to talk." Taeyang. Jin-A's blood ran cold. She'd hoped they'd escape before her old teacher arrived. No such luck. "Stay hidden," she whispered to Hana. Then, louder, "Taeyang, I'm not going back. I don't want you to come back." The old warrior stepped into view. He was massive, even for a Talvin, his armor scarred from 100 battles. "I want you to hand over the hybrid. Then you can go. I won't stop you." "She's not a hybrid. She's a child. She's an illegal experiment. You know the law." Jin-A stepped out from behind the ship, placing herself between Taeyang and Hana's hiding spot. "The law is wrong." Taeyang's expression was sad. "I trained you better than this. Sentiment doesn't belong on a battlefield. This isn't a battlefield. And she's not an enemy combatant. She's 7 years old. She's evidence of a crime. A weapon that could restart the war. She's a little girl who draws pictures and calls me auntie." The words hung in the air. Taeyang stared at his former student. Jin-A saw something change in his eyes. Not anger, uncertainty. "Let me show you," Jin-A said. She raised her voice. "Hana, come here." Hana crawled out from under the crates. She saw Taeyang and froze. The old warrior was twice Jin-A's size, armed and armored. Terrifying to a child. But Jin-A knelt and held out her hand. Hana ran to her, clinging to her leg. "This is what you want to kill," Jin-A said to Taeyang. "Look at her. Really look." Taeyang did. He saw a small child, half hidden behind a warrior's leg. Scared, vulnerable, human and Talveen mixed together into something unique and fragile. I have orders, Taeyang said, but his voice was uncertain. You have a choice, Jin'ei replied. Following orders made you a warrior. Choosing mercy will make you a good person. For a long moment, Taeyang said nothing. Then he sighed. I had a granddaughter. Before the war. She would be about this one's age now. What happened to her? Human bombing raid. She was at school. Taeyang's voice was hollow. I've been following orders ever since. Telling myself it gave her death meaning. It didn't. I know. Taeyang lowered his weapon. Go. Take the ship. I'll tell them you killed me and escaped. They won't believe that. They will when they see the state I'll leave myself in. He actually smiled. I'm old, Jin'ei, but I'm not done yet. I can still choose to do one good thing. Jin'ei's cum crackled. Jin'ei, we've got company. Human ships incoming. So Min and her reinforcements had arrived. Go, Taeyang commanded. I'll hold them off. Jin'ei grabbed Hana and ran toward Ship 3. Behind her, she heard Taeyang's weapon firing. The old warrior was buying them time with his life. She reached the ship. Daeho was in the pilot's seat, engines warming up. Jin'ei dove through the hatch with Hana. Go! Go now! The ship lurched upward. Plasma bolts hammered the hull as they rose. Daeho pushed the engines hard, weaving between the incoming human ships. They're launching fighters. Jin'ei shouted from the sensor station. I see them. Daeho was a good pilot, but the ship was old and slow. The fighters were gaining. Hana sat in the co-pilot's chair, strapped in tight, her eyes wide with fear. Appa, are we going to die? No, Daeho said. He sounded more confident than he felt. We're going to be fine. A fighter locked onto them. Daeho dove, but there was no room to maneuver in atmosphere. They were going to be shot down. Then Hana spoke. Left. Go left. Now. What? Left. Now. Daeho didn't question. He jerked the controls left. A plasma burst passed through the space they'd just been. Hana was watching the sensor display, her strange eyes tracking patterns neither human nor Talveen could see. Right, down, up, spin. Daeho followed her commands. Impossibly, they worked. Every time the fighters lined up a shot, Hana saw it coming. Her hybrid mind processed tactical data in ways that shouldn't be possible. They broke atmosphere. The fighters followed, but now Jin'ei could use the ship's weapons. She wasn't a great gunner, but she was good enough. One fighter exploded. Another veered off, damaged. Jump coordinates locked, Daeho said. 3 seconds to jump. The remaining fighters fired everything they had. The ship's shield screamed. Hull plating buckled, but they held long enough. The ship jumped. Space twisted. Stars blurred. And then they were safe. In the sudden quiet, Daeho and Jin'ei looked at each other. Then at Hana. The child was slumped in her seat, exhausted from the mental effort. How did you do that? Daeho asked. Hana yawned. I don't know. I just saw where they would shoot. It made sense. Jin'ei and Daeho exchanged glances. The scientists who'd created her had been trying to make weapons. They'd failed. But they'd made something else. Something neither species expected. They'd made someone better than both. The neutral station appeared on their screens like a miracle. It was massive, built from the remains of a dozen different ships. Pieces of human and Talveen and other species vessels welded together into something new. A place that belonged to everyone and no one. Yuna's voice came through the comm. Unidentified vessel, this is Haven Station. State your business. Jin'ei took the comm. We're requesting asylum. We have a child aboard. She's in danger. A pause. Then, What kind of danger? Daeho leaned toward the mic. The kind where two governments want her dead. The kind where we have nowhere else to go. Another pause, longer this time. Then, proceed to Docking Bay 7. We'll discuss terms when you're aboard. And welcome to Haven. The station was everything their dying world wasn't. Clean air. Working lights. People moving through corridors without fear. Humans and Talveen and other species mixed together, trading and talking and living. Hannah stared with wide eyes. So many people, she whispered. And nobody's fighting. Yuna met them at the dock. She was human, older, with gray hair and eyes that had seen too much. She looked at Hannah for a long moment, then nodded, as if confirming something. I know what she is, Yuna said quietly. Come. We need to talk privately. Her office was small but comfortable. She offered them tea. Real tea, not the synthetic stuff from ration packs. Hannah sipped hers carefully, her eyes still wide. I worked for the diplomatic corps, Yuna explained. Before the war. I knew about the hybrid programs. I tried to stop them. You knew? Daeho asked. About the experiments, yes. I thought all the children had died. Yuna looked at Hannah. What's your name, little one? Hannah. That's a beautiful name. Yuna smiled. You're safe here, Hannah. Nobody on this station will hurt you. But even as she said it, Yuna's face was troubled. However, we have a problem. Both governments monitor this station. We maintain neutrality by being too useful to destroy. If they learn you're here, they already know, Janae said. They tracked us. It's only a matter of time. Then we need to move fast. Over the next weeks, Hannah adjusted the station life. She made friends with other refugee children. She learned to read human and Talveen writing. She drew pictures and played games and slowly began to act like a normal child. Daeho found work teaching human culture to alien refugees. Jin-A trained the station's small security force. They lived in a tiny apartment, the three of them, but it was more home than any of them had known in years. But the peace couldn't last. Jinny's old contacts warned her that So-Min was building support in both governments. She was convincing them that Hannah was a weapon, a threat that needed to be eliminated. Worse, she was getting military backing for a joint strike. Human and Talveen forces working together for the first time since the war. United by hatred of one small child. We could run again, Daeho said. Take her somewhere else. There is nowhere else, Janae replied. Haven is the last neutral station. Everywhere else, she'd be killed on sight. They sat in silence. Then Hannah spoke up. She'd been listening from her bed, pretending to sleep. I want to talk to them. What? Daeho stood. Absolutely not. Why are they scared of me? Hannah asked. She sat up, her expression serious. I'm just me. I'm not scary. They don't know you're just you, Janae said gently. They think you're something else, then I'll show them. Hannah climbed out of bed. I'll show them I'm not scary. That I'm just Hannah. They won't listen to a child, Daeho protested. But Yuna, who'd been listening at the door, disagreed. They might. If we broadcast it across the entire network, make it impossible to ignore. You want to put her on display? Jinny's voice was dangerous. I want to give her a voice. Yuna knelt in front of Hannah. But only if you want to, little one. Nobody will make you do this. Hannah looked at Daeho and Jinny. Her family. The people who'd given up everything to protect her. I want to help. I don't want you to have to run anymore. So they prepared. Yuna set up a galaxy-wide broadcast. Every screen on every station would carry Hannah's message. Daeho and Jinny helped her practice what to say. Keep it simple. Keep it honest. Just be yourself. The day of the broadcast, Hannah was nervous. She wore her favorite dress, one Daeho had traded for. Jin-A braided her hair. They both stayed just off camera, close enough for Hannah to see. The camera activated. Billions of beings across the galaxy saw a small child with lavender skin and violet eyes, half human, half Talveen. All scared. "Hello," Hannah said in human language. Then she repeated it in Talveen. "My name is Hannah. I'm 7 years old. Some people want to hurt me because I'm different. But I'm not bad. I'm just me." She took a breath. Daeho gave her an encouraging nod. "I was made in the lab. I didn't choose to be born. But I'm alive, and I'm real, and I matter." Hannah's voice grew stronger. "My Appa found me. He's human. He could have left me to die. But he didn't. He saved me. He took care of me. He taught me what love means." On stations across the galaxy, people stopped to watch. Parents with children, soldiers, politicians, everyone. My auntie is Talveen. She was supposed to kill me, but she didn't. She protected me instead. She taught me to be brave. Hannah looked directly into the camera. "I don't want humans and Talveen to fight. I just want to live. I want to play and learn and grow up." "Is that so bad? Am I so scary?" Tears ran down her face, but she kept talking. "If you kill me, you prove that hate is stronger than love. That being different means you deserve to die. Is that what you want to teach your children?" The broadcast ended. Hannah collapsed into Daeho's arms, crying. Jin-A wrapped them both in a hug. They'd done all they could. Now, they waited. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Messages flooded the station. Most supported Hannah. Parents on both sides saw their own children in her. How could they justify killing a little girl who just wanted to live? But so men didn't care about public opinion. Her strike force launched anyway. 50 ships, human and Talveen, all aimed at Haven Station. Yuna activated the station's defenses, but they were minimal. Haven was built for peace, not war. They'd be destroyed in minutes. Then something impossible happened. More ships appeared. Hundreds of them. Civilian vessels from across the galaxy. Traders, refugees, families. They positioned themselves between the strike force and Haven Station. A transmission came through. "You want to destroy that child? You'll have to go through us first." More ships jumped in. Then more. Thousands of ordinary people willing to die to protect one small girl who'd spoken truth to power. Taeyang's voice came over the cum. "So men, stand down. You're outnumbered. By civilians." So men snarled. "By parents. By people who've had enough of war." Taeyang's ship moved to join the civilian fleet. "I won't fight children, so men. Not anymore." More military ships defected. Commanders who'd seen the broadcast. Soldiers who'd had enough. The strike force crumbled as ship after ship refused orders. So Min's ship jumped away, defeated. The threat ended not with violence, but with thousands of ordinary beings saying no. The station erupted in celebration. Hannah was safe. Not because she was hidden, but because the galaxy had chosen to protect her. 5 years passed. Hannah turned 12. Haven Station had become a sanctuary for hybrid children discovered in other abandoned labs. 17 children, all different, all unique. Daeho ran a school for them, teaching them about both their heritages. Jin-A commanded Haven's security force, now a real military presence. She'd been promoted by Yuna, who'd officially adopted Hannah as her granddaughter. The child had more family than she knew what to do with. On Hannah's 12th birthday, they gathered in the station's observation deck. All the hybrid children and their families. Human and Talveen together, celebrating. Hannah stood at the window, looking at the stars. Daeho came to stand beside her. "What are you thinking about?" he asked. All the children who didn't make it, Hana said quietly. All the ones who died in the labs. I know. I think about them too. But we're here, Hana continued. We made it. We get to live. She turned to look at her family, Daeho and Jinhye and Yuna and all the others. Because people chose love instead of hate. Daeho hugged her close. Because one little girl was brave enough to step between a weapon and her father. That's where it all started. Jinhye joined them. She still carried Hana's first drawing in her armor. The stick figures holding hands. Family. The governments are talking now, Jinhye said. Real peace talks. Because of you. Because of us, Hana corrected. All of us. She was right. It had taken a human soldier who chose to save instead of kill. A Talveen warrior who chose mercy over duty. And a hybrid child who chose to speak instead of hide. Together, they'd proven that the real strength of humanity wasn't weapons or tactics. It was the ability to love what was different. To protect the weak. To choose family over fear. Hana looked back at the stars. Out there, the galaxy was changing. Slowly. One person at a time. One choice at a time. One family at a time. And it all started because a little girl loved her father enough to stand between him and danger. Because that's what family does. They protect each other. No matter what.